What's going on YouTube? This is Deke back with another Sorare video. We're talking game week 288. So we have Challenger Europe back in the fold, starting to get more and more games than we're used to breaking down. So this is a really exciting time as we really get into, I believe 294 is the week that we really get everybody back. But it's starting to sprinkle in a little bit more of the gallery players you haven't seen in a while, so it's time to dust them off. If you don't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, helps me get out to other people, and I'm trying to reach as many Sorare people as we can. Once we hit like 100 subscribers, which we're really close, we'll start doing more and more giveaways. I have given away a Reese Oxford already, so we'll get into a bunch of giveaways as we move on. So today's video, we're going to talk about my process in dealing with odds, finding favorites, and seeing if there's any value plays, as well as players that are most likely to smash in that position. So if you take a look at the Google Doc that I have behind here, I went through and I found the odds. I use Odds Portal, and I went through and I use American odds because I'm from the US, but I also have the translation into just regular decimal odds, which decimal odds are a lot easier to use than American, but I'm just used to seeing them as American. So basically what I do is I sort who's the biggest favorite that we're going to see. So as you can see from this, Dynamo Zagreb is the first, and as you can see there, they are a large favorite. They're playing Lokomotiv Zagreb. Second up is Copenhagen. They're playing Horsens, who was just promoted. Just talked about that league. Flamengo from the Brazilian league is next. They really aren't covered at all. I think there's like a couple players, but they're not really useful, so we're going to ignore them. Palmeiras, they have one player that we're going to actually use. Zenit is a big one. We'll have a lot of Zenit players. Then as you're getting through more of these, there's not a lot of coverage. There you can see the Peruvian league. But then we get down to the K-League, and Jeonbuk is playing Sungnam, and that'll be another one that we're going to target in making these lineups. So basically what I'm going through is I'm trying to pick from these teams, is there anyone that I think is in a really good position that maybe hasn't done as well lately, but this is a big bounce back game, or are they just a stud and they're really going to get after it? So other teams that I'm going to cover, just really quick, Midtjylland is minus 182 or 1.55 against Randers. And there's Olsen, CSKA Moscow against Ural as well. I'm not going to cover any MLS today because we've seen MLS the entire time. I think that's about it as far as the biggest favorites. So what I'm going to do is build a team, two teams. One is going to be a value team from these teams, and one is going to be your more expensive option as well. So starting at keeper, we're going to go to Jeonbuk Motors, and it's Song Bom Kun. I'm probably botching the names. That's just how it is. You take a look at his price, so 0.105, as a team that really should win this match. If you take a look at his recent results, I would expect a solid 60 plus if we're thinking about in comparison to other matches where they were similarly favored. So he's my goalkeeper. 0.1. It's, it is what the goalkeeper tax is. It's tough. You got to pay it, but we'll see if we can shave some money off at other positions. Second up is Dmitry Kiskov. He is for Zenit, so I believe he will start at center back in the squad here. If you take a look at some of his recent scores, he has a lot of upper end scores. I do own him. Some reason I'm logged in, but I have him in my lineup. It's not showing my cards on server data right now, so maybe there's a glitch or something, or maybe I just need to download something. I don't know. But I do own him, so I'm not just hyping him up. But if you can see this stretch here, I really think he can put up a very solid score, and he didn't have any decisives in these. So he's putting up a lot of big results without decisives. So that's why a value guy, and he's the 45th defender on the site, and he does have a contract through 2025, and I think he'll be a big role. At 0.0462, that's a cheap entry into a Zenit team that is going to be very favored. If you take a look here, they're playing at Kimki. So they are going on the road, but I do think they can take care of business there. Next up, we're going back to Jumbuk, is Pike Ho. I also own this player. That's kind of just the value guys that I know of. 0.037. If we take a look at his recent, he put up that 78.6 last time out against Incheon. He was very quiet after an 83, but if we go back to some of these scores, he was really tearing it up in multiple stretches where he was putting up those 60-plus games. I think there's an opportunity that he can build on that 78.6, and if we take a look at Jumbuk, they are 1.46 decimal odds, minus 217 if you're on the American side, and they have a really good matchup here. So that is going to be the player that I play there. The forward that I'm going to go with is Bruno Petkovic, another guy that I own. I bought him earlier this year for around 0.02. His price now is 0.075, so it has climbed a little bit, as you can see. People also notice that players are in a good matchup. So that can be a reason why prices go up. I assume that's how it's going to be. Everyone sees that the league is back, and they want to get in on this. So he is in a very good spot here. Hoping he starts. There is obviously a lot of things that you don't know coming into a new season. Are they going to rotate the squad a little bit and you'll see a different starting lineup than before? I don't know, but I really think he's going to slide in at least the first match and get a start here. So taking a look, he's going to need a decisive. Some of these sub performances are not great, so let's just take off the subs and see what kind of points. 55.9 average. I mean, that's phenomenal. You can see the decisives. He needs a decisive. That's basically, he's going to get the 40s or 50s if he doesn't hit that. I think his floor might be that 40-ish, 45 maybe, but I think it's a really good matchup where here's the stretch that I'm looking at. So 76, 81, 86. That's the kind of thing. I think he could get a goal here. Even if he doesn't, maybe an assist, depending where he's playing. I've seen projected lineups where he might play a little bit of cam. We'll see if he maybe plays kind of a shadow striker role. I'm not exactly sure, but that'll be something that I'm definitely going to be watching. And there'll be a lot more clarity once we get through that. And then the utility player, we're going to stay with Jumbuk, so it's a heavy Jumbuk Motors team. And this is Gustavo. So his price is 0.0319. If we take a look at his scores, he is coming off of 3 straight decisives. Could he keep that form? I really think he is in a really good matchup. So 63, 69, 71.5. He came off the bench here. Again, you can see that he does come on as a sub at times. It's very frustrating. I believe I have another player from Jumbuk that you don't know if he's going to start or not. So that is a little bit concerning, but, what can you do in terms of starting lineups whenever you don't see them before? The player that I have is Sung Min Koo. So he's started 40%, so 205, and 55% in the last 40. So I kind of know that they rotate a lot. Barra's also in the kind of situation. He's been starting more lately. But he doesn't really have the upside that I'm looking at. So that can be frustrating, but I do think Gustavo is going to get it done. So if we take a look at our team here, our recent price average is 0.287. So with teams that are most likely definitely going to win, really high odds, that's not a terrible price. I think that's pretty decent value whenever your keeper costs 0.1, so a third of that. Lineup floor price, currently if you want to go out and buy it right now, 0.304. I highly suggest not going out and buying the best matchups every week, but if you can find a value here or there, that would be great. So that is our first team. The second team is going to be the more expensive, and I'm kind of getting into not really bargain hunting. I'm getting into guys that I think really could smash. The first player, very expensive. He's young. It is Daniil Odoefsky, and he is Zenit's first team keeper. He is under 23 until 2027, so he has that utility forever. He's 19 years old. He did break into the starting last season. He looks to be the starter out the gate this season. If you can see here, he did start 2 there and then had a long stretch, but then finished out the season starting all 3. I really see a clean sheet here, most likely. You know, he's expensive, but as keepers are going, they're just going up. You know, the rare, it's crazy, 2.3. It's tough. If you don't have a rare keeper already for the thresholds, you're going to have to save some ETH and just buckle up and get one. You know, I have Davy Rofe. Hopefully nothing happens to him, or I'm going to be out of luck as well. I have an MLS keeper, Ivacic as well, but it's tough whenever you're talking keepers. They're expensive. There's only one starting per team, but, you know, that's kind of the way of the game. At center back, I do own this player as well, Murilo Cerqueira. He plays for Palmeiras. I believe he is one of the only players for Palmeiras that is covered. So if you take a look here at Cuaba, minus 286, 1.35, very big favorites in that matchup. Really think he's going to have a clean sheet. He did not play. He was on the bench whenever they rotated in the Cup. What was that? CONMEBOL Liberados, whatever you say. But then he was back against Fortaleza with the 60. You take a look at his recent form. I bought him, I don't know, maybe down in this area. I think after the 65, I bought him, and he has been unbelievable. You know, look at all those great scores. Look at his graph. He's been unbelievable. They should easily win this. Hopefully they don't rotate. You can see here he has been a sub a couple times, but you know, I think he's in the match, and he's going to be a solid guy. His price is 0.1. It has risen a little bit, but he is a stud, and whenever he is in the lineup, he does a really good job and puts up those points. Next up, this is getting into more of Zenit. So we are going to have a few Zenit guys. His price is 0.0981. His name is Wendell. We take a look here at his last season. Not the biggest scores, but he does have some decisives. And I honestly think he's a guy that really could get a decisive here and put up a really nice score. So whenever he is getting those assists, 80 plus, 69 here, nice. But, you know, he's been a starting lineup. You go back to his last season form, he was in a really good form stretch, even without decisives, 60 plus here, pretty handily. I really think he can get off to a really good start out the gate here. He did lose his under 23 eligibility, which might have dunked his price a little bit. I actually didn't look at that, did it? You know, not really. ETH price rising. Let's see, dollars. Yeah, it did dunk it a little bit. So with that, you know, you're getting a little bit of a bargain if you're not playing them in under 23, which is great. Next one, we're going with a single name, guys. This is Malcolm. So here's our expensive player, 0.335. I really think he smashes this game week. You take a look at his L5, L15, and L40, all 60 plus. You take a look at his upside games. He has a really good track record there. So if we just take a look at our starts here, you know, he's getting 80 plus a lot. 2 100s last season. So he's a guy, yes, he's expensive, but right out the gate, I think this is a really good matchup that hopefully he can play the full 90 and not get subbed off after like 60 and maybe bag a goal or two. And then our last player here, if you just watched my last video, I talked about him, Michelin Anders Dreyer. So he is 0.13. That actually went up a little bit in the last few. Don't mind my cat. If you take a look at his last 4, you know, he did a really good job. I talked about it in my last video. Really good form down the stretch. And another guy that, yeah, he's a little bit more expensive, but that's the second best team in the Danish Superliga, and could be a good guy to start off the year with a really good score. So I think he smashes this week. And this team is almost a full ETH, which is not ideal, but if we're talking higher end, they're probably going to win. There's probably going to be goals scored, clean sheets as well. This is a team that I really like, and if you have some of these players, you're obviously starting them. You don't need me to tell you that. So hopefully you guys like this video. I'll do more of these down the road, And if you did like it, you learned anything, or if you have any team news, comment and we can have a little discussion about it. Again, I'm not an expert on these leagues. There's guys I follow on Twitter that are the experts. I kind of just do my Googling names and following on Twitter to see who's starting, who's not, and try and get all the effort I can to not get those DMPs. So, hope you guys like this. If I don't talk to you until lineups submit, good luck with the rest of this game week. It is a shorter week, and I didn't really have anyone playing that well. If you saw my lineup builder, everything's gone to crap. So I doubt for any rewards. We'll check you out in the next video. See you guys.